Hello legends, the price of Bitcoin has been downtrending for the last 3 weeks since it created its all-time high above 123k on the 14th of July. And your question right now, are we breaking down to much lower levels? Is this downtrend that we formed going to continue, or is the reversal just around the corner? Now I'm going to explain the levels and in detail why that reversal is extremely likely to happen, guys. So make sure to stay tuned till the very end. Now, before we go through the technical analysis, guys, remember that you got some awesome bonuses down below on these exchanges. Weeks, you got $1,000 Ethereum position for free as you download the app, guys. When you sign up with the link in the description, you'll be getting all of those details on Weeks. It's the fourth link down below. Bluffing also has an awesome bonus, 20% cashback up to $500. There are hundreds of altcoins to be traded, guys. You only need an email and a password to sign up to any of these exchanges, guys. Take advantage of the bonuses. Now, let's go right away through the technicals. Now, we are downtrending. Yes, it is true. Are the probabilities breaking down higher? Absolutely not, guys. The probabilities of bouncing either the low is in or creating one more low and then getting an epic reversal are extremely high. And there's one simple reason why. When we take a look at the most bearish case scenario, well, eventually we would have to label all of this as a wave 1, your wave 2 right over here in a complex sideways WXY, and then your wave 3 is still on the formation. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Your wave 3 is the largest one. Your wave 4 getting the reaction at the 50% Fibonacci. That's what we like to see so far. The bears are maintaining those levels and it is downtrending. So yeah, the bears do have a chance actually to revisit the lows. However, I do see that massive bounce happening as we claim the lows. Regardless if the most bearish case scenario happens, right, where we do actually form a wave 4 and then another wave 5 and we actually break down below 110k, right? Now, yeah, of course, that downtrend can continue. Now, why does this have low probability? Well, if you are labeling this as your wave 1, which is the only wave that you can count nicely as a possible impulse, even still, it can be counted as a 3-wave structure, but it's the only one out of this range that you can count properly for an impulse. You can't count an impulse right over here or over here. This is very 3-wavy, right? And all of this becomes a large sideways complex correction. Now, the problem is for this to be your wave 2, it is 5-6 times longer in time compared to your wave 1. And that is extremely rare to see for a wave 2. Most commonly, you would want to see this as either your wave X or your wave B, which we'll be going through the other local bearish case scenario. Now, this is the most bullish one, okay, that I am looking at that could be playing out. Yesterday, we were discussing the possible chance in forming a higher low at the golden pocket 7/8 Fibonacci from the pivot low here of Monday to the pivot high of yesterday as well, right? That 7/8 Fibonacci did maintain very nicely, and so far it is getting a bounce of over $1,000. Nothing too crazy, nothing confirmed yet. But overall, it is holding, and that was a general idea that could be developing throughout yesterday's price action. So if anybody that longed the 7/8 very aggressively with that dip, okay, you do have to have, some balls right there, because you are basically trying to catch that falling knife and you're going overall with this general projection, right, that could be developing. But overall, your invalidation is the low, right? Stop loss is the low. If you want to, just get into a small position, your stop loss is literally the low. That is your invalidation for that 3-wave structure and giving the chance for this to finish. Now, this very much possible. You have your movement to the downside here in your wave W. You have your ABC, okay, running flat to form your wave X in this case. And here you do have your wave 1, your wave 2, your wave A, your wave B, and then this is your wave C, right? The largest move, very nice push to the downside. You can count a 5-wave structure here very nicely on your wave C to finish your zigzag ABC in your wave W and your wave Y of your WXY. Very much a possibility here, guys. I do like this idea, and I am leaning on it could happen. It could happen based on yesterday's video, right? Is the low in already? So far we are getting that bounce. If we do come and claim the 0.88 Fibonacci from the pivot high of yesterday to the pivot low of yesterday also, right? If we do claim that 0.88 Fibonacci, then eventually the breakout here will extremely increase in probability, right? To get to 117, maybe 118K, where that is where we do have the huge amount of resistance, guys. This is the level of resistance that I do know that we are likely going to get a reaction. We probably can reject. We'll be dancing around potentially for 24 hours in this region, as it is the point of control, the weekly naked point of control, right, from the consolidation of the previous weeks. But this is the wave that we're looking for, right? We're either looking for this third wave up, right, and is this low in right there, okay? The price action, not too convincing, all right? We'll be discussing the lower time frames right now throughout the end of the video, which is the most important information, so make sure to stick around. This projection is very realistic. It's very much possible. We do have some nice bullish CVD divergence, okay? Higher lows here on the price action and lower lows on the CVD. There is lots of shorts entering the market, right? They are leaning on the side, of the bears, right? They are seeing this as a possible way forward. They are seeing the downtrend, right? And the rejection, right, at the 50% Fibonacci, and they want those lows to be claimed. Now, this scenario looks pretty good. It's still valid, and it's still a possibility. The overall question later on is, will we form a wave C or a wave 3? Well, we'll have to go with the next information as soon as we get up to this region. Bearish case scenario locally, the one that has also some probabilities. However, I do not see the price breaking down successfully beneath 112K. We could hit 111, maybe 110.5K zone, which ultimately I will be looking for that reversal. Same scenario as the WXY, but in this case, it's an ABC. Now, we want to label this as a B wave or an X wave. A wave 2, for the moment, has low probability based on the large amount of time that it has taken. A wave to the downside, you have your WXY. Your Y wave is a flat right over here that counts very, very nicely. You have your wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, which actually is rejecting at the common area of rejection for a wave 4. From your wave 2 end, okay, to the wave 3, 38250% is the zone of rejection, which it did reject nicely throughout yesterday, as we can see here, throughout Monday evening and Tuesday, right? We got that pullback, and it probably can continue the downtrend. Now, we need to label this as your first leg down of yesterday's drop. First leg down. Expanding diagonal is the only way I can count this for your wave 1. Could this be your wave 2? Hitting in between the 50% Fibonacci and the 7.8, that is the bears' chance, guys. If the bears want to continue this downtrend of the last few weeks, they need to reject in between the 114.2K and the 115K zone, right? Which is in between 50% Fibonacci and the 7.8 to potentially get that wave 3 breakdown, right? Then wave 4, wave 5, we're looking for choppiness in this range to create that reversal. Get acceptance with the first pump back above the levels. That is going to be very, very interesting, guys. We do have a naked point of control, which I do expect getting the reaction also with an order block, right? When we do get the naked point of control level. This is literally at 111.1K. There is a nice order block in this zone. This order block is absolute fire, in my opinion. This is the zone that, if it is touched, could be the absolute low before a major rally of $8,000-$9,000, guys. If we come down to this level in the next coming days, this is the area that I'm going extremely long, because I understand that the breakdown is extremely unlikely, guys. The breakdown, the successful breakdown, okay, below 112K here, is extremely unlikely, just because we are not labeling this as your wave 2. It's too long for a wave 2, and eventually this is more common for a corrective structure, A, B, C, or WXY, okay? Not a wave 2. So we need to give priority here for this to be corrective instead of a impulsive move to the downside. So that is one scenario. Naked point of control, revisit the lows of last Sunday at 112K. And this is the area where I would expect, of course, the choppiness, local double bottoms, reclaim of the low. It could get choppy. It could be getting a little bit messy, a little bit confusing, but this would be the ultimate zone, all right, where I would be interested in that first big recovery and then look for change of bullish market structure above the lows after claiming that liquidity, hitting that massive amount of support. Maybe this is not going to happen. Okay, maybe the low is already in and we get that leg to the upside. As explained, you could be positioned already. I'm still in some swing longs. You know, you could already be positioned. Position yourself right now in this area. Well, it's, you know, it just doesn't look too impulsive. I mean, we have moved up above that naked point of control that we had here from Sunday, but I have to say, an expanding diagonal is possible, okay? And as we are downtrending, guys, we cannot forget the downtrend, right? We're just trying to spot that reversal, and I know it's going to happen at some point very soon. A chance for a higher low here is possible. We got that bounce at the 7-8, but right now, the movement up that we've had in the last 24 hours is not too convincing, right? It's just very, very slow. Local bullish market structure, but very, very poor. And as you do have that expanding diagonal option to the downside, you need to be very, very cautious that this movement up could be corrective and it just forms another lower high and claims the low. I don't mind about this. It's okay. I will be ready to look at the waves and the price action development in this zone after claiming the low to get extremely long later on the first major bounce and break of local structure of the downtrend. Okay, this is the area that I would be, you know, full on long, guys, and this is the zone where we can make those massive gains. Now on the other side of the bears, okay, I mean, if we were to see that higher low here, we stretch our legs here to the upside, well, eventually what we would be looking at is the possibility of forming an ABC or a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And we actually form a pretty interesting impulsive move to the upside. And then eventually that is the moment that we could say, okay, this could be the end of that three-wave structure. We look for that correction and then we look for another new long opportunity. However, a three-wave structure can be developed. And this is like, okay, well, what else could we form? Well, we have a three-wave move down. You could form a three-wave move up and just continue the correction in a triangle or form a flat here and then move up. And it's just a big, fat, large, complex correction that is going to take, you know, possibly the entire month of August. We're going to be analyzing the situation later on, okay? But that reversal, regardless from here or taking out the low and then reversing, is extremely, extremely likely, guys. And we need to take advantage, of course, of that movement to the upside. Now, levels to take into consideration if we were to get that leg up here is a naked point of control, weekly naked point of control. It's literally the consolidation range of the last few weeks, highest point of control level with the value area low. This could be a zone of rejection in between 117 and 118K. It is also around about the 1.236 Fibonacci from the leg up here of Sunday and Monday to the low. If this were to be the low, 1236, 1382 is a very common area for your C wave to top out, okay? If this is going to be a three-wave structure, value area low, point of control, it might struggle here to get back above the value area low of this range, all right? That would be a take profit zone if you are longing. It is a bounce of several $1,000s, $3,000 to $4,000. So eventually you want to take some profit. That's enough profits. Eventually, nice move. This is big resistance and it could be a three-wave structure and we might get surprised with a decent pullback later on. If this does break through and it hits the 1.618 extension, managing to get above the point of control, we can definitely be confident that we could be on the formation of a wave 4 and a wave 5. That will be the ultimate sign that this is bullish again and we are looking for more bullish momentum and new all-time highs to be hit in the next coming weeks with this confirmation. Of course, the retracement pullback is where we are going to be interested in looking for some long positions, okay? Not much more has to be said. It's just how the price could develop, guys. You may ask me, well, what do you think? Is it going to go up or down? Overall, higher time frame, go up, guys. My prediction here is that we either form a higher low, and if we do take out the low, I am looking for an epic bounce, ultimately getting to 118K zone at a bare minimum. All right, so what I am looking at here is this movement to the upside to happen with high probability. And if the movement down does happen, we do have a naked point of control. This is a zone where we usually react very nicely. This consolidation, this order block right there, where we could be definitely excited if it gets that reaction, it does not break down, to get into a long position and look for that recovery, okay? That is basically it. Those are the levels for a short position here. I wouldn't be too interested because I'm aware of a third wave. I am very much aware that this could actually, break out from the point of control, hit the 1.618 extension. So I'm not too interested in a short position. If the price pumps up to this zone, I want to see the next information to see if it's going to be corrective in that wave 4, and then look for the next push to the upside to form your wave 5. That is if we do get that leg to the upside, guys. Guys, we do have Phemex also with an insane bonus. They do have up to $1,000 of reward on your deposit, guys. $1,000 cashback, 20% cashback, guys. Okay, so take advantage as well on that on Phemex. And as you do trade and move volume, you'll be getting airdrops of Solana. You can earn Solana as you trade here on Phemex, and you get that while you sign up to the Phemex link down below, guys. It is the 5th link down below in the description for Phemex, guys. Thank you very much for joining, and I will see you in the next one.